Hi, welcome. Thank you for stopping by Social Realities with Dr. Med. This is Meredith Davis, and this is my channel. Let's get started. I want to talk about today essence. I was listening early this morning, early this morning. I was listening to someone sharing their experiences about the Juvia station that was set up at Essence Festival. And so I want to talk about that because it seemed to be very problematic. And what I also saw was extremely problematic. First of all, let's just give a little history and context because I think it's important to understand the origins of things in order to understand how it's developed and evolved over time. So, Essence Magazine was created in 1970. 1970 is a very potent time for Black history. We had the Black aesthetic movement, we had the Black power movement, we have people protesting, reclaiming spaces in places that we belonged, but we were excluded from. So there's a lot of politics going on. There's a lot of celebration and affirmation of Black American culture. And I say Black American specifically. There were, and let me be very clear, there's always been a diasporic and continental experience in the United States. Many of our authors, many of the leaders of the Black Power movement, the Black community, have come from have come from the West Indies, or have come from the continent or other parts of the world, and so this isn't anything new. What is new is the decentering of the Black experience from people who were born in this country, and I think that's where people had their beef with Essence. You could always count on Essence and Essence Festival to share about the biggest, the brightest, and the most prolific, powerful Black women in particular in the community. Essence was designed specifically for women. Susan Taylor is one of the founders, and she was the editor for several decades. And there wasn't that kind of a challenge when Susan Taylor was here. And I don't want to necessarily always talk about the editor, because what we need to focus on is who owns it. Okay, hasn't been owned by Black people in a long time, y'all. Essence has not been owned by Black people. There are a lot of things that don't belong to us that are considered Black American, or even just Black in general, that have been funded by white folk or other people, and they are benefiting off of our history, our culture, our experience, appropriating the materials, the customs, the practices to suit the public. So we're essentially, paying for our own appropriated materials, items, culture, whatever it is. So Juvia was at a station, and apparently they pissed off a lot of a lot of the sisters in New Orleans, because they said they were giving away products and they only had a few hundred products and they didn't have enough. People were standing in line for hours. People were very frustrated with the way in which things were handled. So I just want to address it from a couple of lenses. First, I am an administrator. I was an administrator for decades. I have put together conferences and workshops in convention centers. Okay. I've been a part of those kinds of teams. I've had to lead initiatives where thousands of people had to show up, and I had to figure out the logistical. So what I'm telling you, I know. I'm telling you what I know. It's not an opinion, it's what I know. And so when you have those kinds of festivals, you have what's called sponsorships. And they're usually vendors who are committed and mission aligned to the festival. They bring in their products. They often give them away for free. And it's a way of giving back to the community, as well as highlighting and promoting their items. So Juvia was there to promote their makeup and cosmetics. The women were frustrated, and people were frustrated for a number of reasons. Some people stood in line for hours and never received anything free. Then they ran out of products. They ran out of free promotional items, and told people, if you purchase some of our items, we can give you something free. And then they tried to explain the notion of Blackness and I guess intersectionality and coalition building, because this woman of African descent, she goes on a diatribe about being from Nigeria, and she knows she's Black. And whew, baby, we know you know that you Black, but we a different Black. Okay, let me help you out. We're a different Black. We come from, and this is why I have this channel, because social realities means what happens in your daily life on the ground because of your identities. So as a Black woman born in this country, my experience is very different than when you come over here. And let me tell you why. Okay, because when white people see someone from the West Indies or other parts of the world who are of black ancestry that weren't born here, they don't have to see the same shame that they see when they look at us. The other challenge with Juvia is that they ran out of product and wanted to charge people. I've never heard of such. That is unprofessional. Let me just say that's unprofessional. You don't change your policy midstream and go from giving out free products to now charging people so they can get a free product. That's a hustle. That's a real straight up, like, what is it, bait and switch that they were talking about, because people were saying it was a bait and switch. People stood in line for hours and didn't get anything. Finally, it's this video I saw where this woman of Nigerian descent, she's Nigerian, she's in a crowd of people trying to explain what happened. And well, it's not finally, that's the next to the last, because I got one more for you with some bullshit. But anyway, so she was explaining how she's black and she's from Nigeria and she aligns with our struggle, blah, 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 blah. And it was really just some splaining, some bullshit splaining. If you have to explain to a group of people how you're the same, that's a problem. If you got to tell me that you're black and how you're black, that's a problem. If you have to find a way to substantiate your blackness to me and I'm black, that's a problem. Finally, they had the audacity to say that it was Essence's fault because they weren't supported enough by Essence and they didn't have enough person power. Bullshit. I call bullshit again. When you're doing a sponsorship, it's your responsibility to set up your table. It's your responsibility to provide promotional materials. It's your responsibility to have enough volunteers to show up and help disseminate products and materials. That's not Essence's responsibility, it's yours. And you know that. So don't play with people. I can't stand when people play in our faces. Do not insult our intelligence. I'm a businesswoman. There's no way in hell I'm going to show up with 100 products to give away free to a festival of thousands of people. So you didn't do your due diligence. You didn't even think about, how about thinking about coalition building and collaborating with local vendors in the New Orleans community? You could have reached out to some of the beauty supply people and said, listen, do you have somebody who can volunteer to sit behind our, table for a couple of hours to give out products? You could have just gotten a team of people on social media and had your products dispersed throughout Essence. Didn't have to stand at a damn table like it's a child line. There are lots of different ways to do this. And so I'm offering solutions. So I'm not just complaining, because to me, I don't believe in critiquing someone or critiquing an ideology or a belief and not offering some alternative way of seeing it. And for me, it was just very poorly done. And it shows once again how people they just love our rhythm, but can't stand the people. You just love black culture, but can't stand us. And so we need to think about where our money is going. And that's in every aspect of our lives. I don't give a damn anymore if somebody black owns something. If your agenda does not align with my freedom, my liberation, who I am, if I can't be whatever identities I want to be without you judging me, without you thinking that there's something wrong with me or that I'm in a deficit of humanity, then I don't want to mess with you. And I don't care who you are. And that's the place we need to get, y'all. We need to stop picking and choosing and trying to justify what we do. Be grown enough to live with the consequences. So these are the consequences. It's only going to get more West Indian and more African. So if you continue to go, that's on you. But Juvia, holla at me, because I don't mind having a conversation about this. I think this is a great topic and I have some solutions. This is Dr. Meredith Davis, Social Realities with Dr. Med. Deuces.